Welcome to Big Sky Voices.
I'm Victor Wuamet, and that is
And I'm Ben
Boothe.
Who is this guy here?
This guy today is named Shad Adair. Shad, you are multi-talented, I know, but you belong to an organization called the Corps of Retired Executives. And I want to know what made you retire from the business that you were in and decide to become an actor and a producer and a writer.
Sure. So you're referring to SCORE.
SCORE.
Right. Affiliated with the Small Business Administration.
Exactly.
A group of volunteers is about 13,000 of us across the U.S. You know how to get my chairman spiel in.
Yeah, I do. So, disregarding the chairman's spiel, what made you decide to pursue a new career? Because I know that you're sort of retired, or you say you are.
Right. I was in software for about 30 years, and it was a happenstance sort of thing. I was actually, as a part of my role at SCORE, doing some investigation into who were the mentors in our community to help small businesses in the film industry here in town, and we didn't have any on our team. And so I went down and talked to Ann Lerner at the city.
Yes.
Talking about the tax incentives.
Ann Lerner runs the film office for Albuquerque.
She sure does. Yeah. And she challenged me to go out on set and learn about the industry, and I just fell in love with it immediately.
Wow. Ben, that's kind of...
I've got a question.
So blame it on Ann Lerner.
Shadmeister. The Shadmaster. German? Are you Deutsch? Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Ich spreche Deutsch.
Ich bin ein Dummkopf.
Nein.
He ist ein Dummkopf.
No.
I've got a question for you.
Sure.
You've been around. You've got a lot of energy. Everybody from LinkedIn to the net, everybody says you're an energetic guy. What has been one of the most energizing and exciting projects you have done in the last 5 years?
Wow, great question. They're all exciting in some way, Ben. The most exciting project. Wow. So I just shot, it was an interesting student project up in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Brilliant young director, writer, Garrett Gaston asked me to come in and play a scientist.
Yeah.
White room. I got to do my own stunts. So I'll tell you right there, I had a young man, Micah McNeil, beating the hell out of me. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's nothing like working with youth.
Right. Guy half your age beating the heck out of you, you know.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be choreographed.
Yeah.
It doesn't all become a dance. Some of those punches actually landed.
Well, today my wife hooped, and she got a check from Paramount. And I said, "What are you excited about?" She said, "Would you believe Whiskey Tango Foxtrot actually paid me residuals today? I've got a check for several $100s." And I thought,
good for her.
And that was a film they said didn't make money. I said, just think what Tina Fey made if you made that.
Yeah, in case you don't know, Ben's wife was the Persian woman who told off Tina Fey in that movie in Farsi.
She called her every name in the book, but they did it in Farsi so they could keep their rating relatively good. And but my excitement, and I know Victor's is too, is doing something and watching young people or young actors come in and catch that wannabe excitement, right?
Right.
And that's been fun for me. But my wife, her excitement is when she gets a check.
Yeah.
And Victor is a par excellence writer.
He's a great writer.
And he's got a project coming out soon. But I know you get excited when you write a good line, when you write a good part, right?
Shad, you're a writer too, aren't you?
I do write.
Yeah.
I do write.
What excites you about writing?
Well, it's a challenge, and it's not a natural gift for me. It's something that I forced myself to do.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a young boy, I've always had something to say, and writing is just one of those vehicles to get that something to say out there.
What excites you now to write about?
Wow, just life circumstances.
Yeah.
I've lived a very interesting life, and I like to take circumstances or situations that have occurred in my life, and rework them. Essentially, it's kind of therapeutic.
Oh, yeah.
Have you written a good part for yourself?
There are some in progress. There have been some that I like. We did a short last year called Grandma's House, and I collaborated with 3 other folks on that.
Okay.
And we wrote a certain part in there for me. And
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
So how do you see your future in the film industry here in Albuquerque?
Well, I like to think of our company as a bit of a spark plug.
What's the name of your company?
Shadmeister Productions.
Okay, right.
And that name comes from a meshing up of my partner and mine's names. So
Okay.
my first name Shad and his last name Schulmeister. We were sitting around trying to figure out a good name for the company. We had a laundry list. All of them were taken or exceptionally expensive to buy properties online.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary Darling from the New Mexico
Right.
Women in Film Writer Group, she said, well, you both have interesting names. Why don't you mash them together? And that's how the name came about.
Okay. And what's the goal of your company?
Well, the goal of our company is to get interesting stories made, typically from voices that might be underrepresented or might not have a way to get their voice out there. So we like to look for projects that fit with our vision. Look and see numerically, do they make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Where do they fit in format? Where can we get them distributed? What vehicle could we put them through to get them funded? Because we're a believer in paying everybody that works on our
Right.
projects. We do some deferrals, but we're a big fan that if folks are out there working, they need to be paid for their work. So it initially started. We saw an opportunity for a lot of talented folks that were working on some of these major things like Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Sure.
And there was some downtime between projects, and we
Right.
wanted to create work for those folks.
Right.
And that really was a successful recipe for us early on. Now we're actually seeing some success in actually sourcing projects from out of state and bringing them here. We recently worked with some folks at Awesomeness TV to shoot some footage for them here in Roswell and a little bit outside
Okay.
of Albuquerque.
Chad, one of the things you have done in the Paying It Forward program, that's had a huge impact on this city, and in terms of media and exposure and everything. And I think when you get involved in something and you add an altruistic element to it, you energize it. You give it something extra. Wouldn't you believe that that's true?
I do. I don't think that's ever the impetus for doing it. I've just always in life, and I guess this comes from my grandmother, that when you're given much, then you have responsibility to share that in some regard. And it's an interesting thing. The more you share, the more you end up getting. Again, that's not the reason you do that, but it's an amazing thing that's how it happens.
Yeah. One of the things that I've discovered about Albuquerque is there is a growing group of young executives that really want to give something back to this community. They want to gentrify Central, or they want to take this part of town and make it better, or they want to do this or build this, and they're doing it. And I know that because part of my job is to help the banks get them, the capital,
Right.
make it happen. But you're that kind of person.
Yes, sir.
And that's one of the reasons I'm so delighted to have you at this microphone here. And, because Victor's that way. And we're trying to do something positive with what we do. The creative thing always has a level, we hope, of integrity in it that might make a positive difference in some way.
Right. I think that's the lowest common denominator, right, is that it's making a difference for somebody either immediately or somewhere in the future. If I look at some of the things that I love about film is I go back into my childhood, and there were times when I might not have been the happiest, and maybe Peter Sellers in some comedy made me smile, right?
Yeah.
So, and he doesn't know that, of course, but that was me that he made smile, but he knows he made somebody smile, and I think that's the least common denominator in our work.
Yeah. But that is a golden thing. And when I saw the Globe Awards the other night and heard some of the comments made, I heard this altruism in there woven into, that some of these people, what was it? One of the actors said to another actor, this is real, or said something that was kind of a positive help, that's good. And that's one of the reasons this show exists, is for that, to try to get positive things out there that'll help New Mexico, help this industry, and encourage people along.
Super
And so
important.
we
If we don't tell those stories, folks don't know about what we're doing. Right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys doing
So
that.
how do you see the coming year for you? What's going to be your focus?
Well, one of the things that we've challenged ourselves, so we've done a number of shorts. We've done some commercial industrial work. We're really intent on creating a feature project this year. So we are in some pre-production activities right now. We've got a number of scripts in hand that look very promising. We have an interesting live broadcast that we are currently negotiating contract for that's going to happen here in Albuquerque in April.
Great.
So there are some real exciting things. One of our projects that we're wrapping up is Thank You 5. If you just search Thank You 5, the show out on the web, you'll find a lot of information about that. That was entirely shot here in Albuquerque with all New Mexico cast and crew. We're looking to find a home for that via distribution. There will be a lot of information. We'll hit social media by storm in the next 30 to 45 days on that. Second project we've got. I got to get this plug in too. We've got a director writer out of Los Angeles that wants to shoot a gun violence prevention video. That's Good Guys with Guns. we've already done a successful campaign raise for that,
Mhm.
and we're going to shoot that the first week in March here in town.
Oh, that's great. That's great. But honestly, is there enough local infrastructure to shoot feature films here that are sourced here in Albuquerque, here in New Mexico?
There is still enough infrastructure. Interesting you asked that question, though. We are starting to run into, we're out scouting locations all the time, right, for these
Right,
different projects.
right.
And I am starting to, be challenged with our ability to get locations. But we're starting to pull in more specialists that help with those sort of things. We've been bootstrapping a lot of that, and we're hitting those growth pains now that we've actually got to go out and get folks that specialize in that. But I think there is some infrastructure strain we're seeing with some of the major studios. That's okay. We want that.
Is there still are there still
we
enough
want
people?
There are enough people.
Yeah.
We can always use more.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but there are enough people to get the projects we want done.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Well, Ben.
Well, but this is what I want to ask you. It appears to me that streaming, the small screen, is going to dominate this industry. What do you think? The YouTubes, the Amazons, the
Interesting.
Netflix.
Interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting point. So I think the small screens, and I don't necessarily think it, I think we initially start thinking about that in terms of stratification of age. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that a lot of people are bringing the data, the video through the mobile screens, but it's still being projected predominantly through the television set.
Mhm.
So I might bring it up on YouTube, but I'm actually putting it on the
Yeah.
television set to watch it. I think that's going to be an interesting play. There
And
there
the
are
TV sets are getting larger and larger.
they are. So I don't think one is replacing the other. I think what we're seeing is it's actually supplementing it, and the amount of content that's being written so that it can
Yeah.
really be transmedia. And by the way, we're starting to refer to our company as a transmedia company
There you go.
because we are creating content for different screen sizes, different distribution channels.
Okay.
What is amazing when you look at the distribution followership, if you will, on social media of the major networks, and then contrast that with some of those who are strictly on the small screen, the small screen numbers dwarf the major guys.
I know, it's amazing.
It's
And
ridiculous.
the quality's not bad.
Ridiculous.
How can you blow stuff up on a little screen? I don't understand. Does it really have the same impact?
Oh,
emotionally?
yeah.
It's really no different.
My wife told me the other day she wanted for Christmas a TV screen that'll cover that whole wall over there. And, of course, you can do that off your phone. And it
Yeah.
doesn't pixel out. It
Yeah.
looks great.
Yeah. Great.
You can actually tell your mobile, depending on the channel you're on.
Yeah.
For example, YouTube, you can go from SD quality all the way to HD quality, and
Right.
what that does is that's how much data you're pulling down off the
Right.
internet.
Right.
I had lunch with a guy from L.A. 3 weeks ago. And he was going around town looking for warehouse facilities that could be converted into studios. And he said, if you've got something, let me know. But he said, what I'm beginning to believe is to get something that's big enough, tall enough, with the appropriate structure, we're going to have to build a couple of more studios. Well, I thought we had plenty of studios.
No, it's
And,
absolutely. I ran into the same thing. We went out one of the companies we're working
Yeah.
with in Santa Monica, and they have already just outgrown the complex they're in, and they are purchasing very large parcels to expand their studio
Yeah,
space.
Lions Gate over in Santa Monica. Have you seen that? Wow, it's so impressive.
They're doing quite well.
Yeah.
It seems.
Well, this is such an exciting thing, and what a pleasure to have you here with us. And now let me tell you how this goes. We go here, we throw it on YouTube, but then from YouTube we throw it on another site that's got a readership roughly of about 800,000 people.
Great.
We'll get the moment we set it up, we'll be getting about 50,000 viewers a week at least. And so if you go to YouTube, you'll see, we only had 20 viewers on that. But if you go to the extended number, we really expand that. And if you have ideas or have friends that have ideas and they need to get something out, some message, some story, some event, we plan to do 30 of these and throw
Okay.
them out there. And then we're going to sell it to Apple and let them,
Yeah.
let them podcast it. And,
Good deal.
and
Good
so-
deal.
All right.
What else, Victor?
That's it, Chad. Thank you so much.
My pleasure,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you so much.
Big
man.
Sky Productions, and this is Ben Boothe, and I'm out of here.
All right. Thanks.
Bye, guys.